To insects, humans are literally like the ancient Lovecraftian beings. We are older than their recorded history. Our motives are completely incomprehensible to them. We pay no attention to their tiny lives, and we can destroy them whenever we want.
The hive was in danger. The queen could sense it. She gathered us here in the center of the hive, away from prying eyes and curious antennae.
Something has happened. Our offspring are not surviving this heat. The climate has changed, and we are not surviving. The honey barely drips and doesn't form properly. We are near the end.
My queen, what shall we do? We are just simple worker bees.
You must find the Ancient One, the one who gave my ancestors a home when they were homeless.
My queen, those are just stories we tell the young ones.
The Ancient One is a true giant, but a gentle giant. They will help us. They must...
Their conviction gave us hope. She gave us an approximate area where to search for this ancestral being who had survived numerous generations. The journey was long and dangerous. We lost a good group of workers along the way, giving us the strength we needed by sacrificing their bodies. If we survive this absurd mission, they will be the true heroines. As we crossed our known boundary into an unknown world, the flowers disappeared. It was flat and open, with very short grass. There was also a hive unlike any we had ever seen before. The hive was enormous and could easily house millions of us. The queen had told us we would find the Ancient One in that hive. It took us 3 full days to find a way into the Ancient One's hive. When we succeeded, we were greeted by fresh air and the scent of flowers. We landed on a strange piece of wood that had some flowers from our Hive land. We thought we were hallucinating, or worse, that we were dead.
Do you think this is the right place?
It's where the queen told us to go. I hope she was right.
We felt the vibrations before hearing the movement of air. We scattered quickly in fear for our lives. We heard a sound like no other, almost like a siren calling to us. We peeked from our hiding place and saw it for the first time. The Ancient One was placing something on the strange wood. The aroma of food hit me, and I could feel my stomach growling with hunger. The Ancient One seemed to move away quickly, and there on the wood were a few drops of water. My stomach couldn't take it anymore. Although what remained of my group tried to stop me, I launched myself forward and began to drink. Oh, heavenly skies. It wasn't just water, it was nectar. Sweet, sweet nectar. Praised be the gods. The others followed shortly after I began singing and shouting with joy at the top of my lungs. We felt the wood move again when the Ancient One moved. They had changed since the last time we saw them and were covered head to toe in white fabric. I was delirious at this point. My group thought I was about to succumb. This giant Ancient One was extending a huge appendage toward us. They placed it flat beside us, and on that appendage was honey. At this point, we thought we had all died. We began to lick the honey, and the air changed around us. The Ancient One was carrying us as if it were nothing. The world passed by at dizzying speeds. The world began to slow down, and we saw our hive. We had just traveled more than a week's journey in mere minutes. How was this possible? We felt a growl come from the Ancient One. We feared we had offended them somehow. We huddled in one of the folds of their white skin. The appendage moved again. We heard a sharp buzzing followed by a blast of cold air. The Ancient One seemed satisfied and stopped growling, then carefully removed their white skin and pushed us back to the edge of the hive. There was the queen, flanked by her guards.
My queen, we brought the Ancient One as requested. Our journey was full of dangers. Some of us did not survive. We present to you the Ancient One.
We stepped aside and turned to look, but the Ancient One was no longer there. Those who were near the hive entrance saw them, this giant, and as quickly as they appeared, they were gone again.
It's all right, my daughters. I have known the Ancient One before, when I was still a larva. My queen told me about them, and her queen told her too. Throughout our lineage, they are one of the few ancients we do not fear. Now come, each of you has had an exhausting journey. I have assigned you new tasks.
My queen.
They have lived a fairy tale. I believe they said so themselves. We tell these stories to the young ones. Now you know they are true. You have a new job, ensuring the young ones believe again.
Time passed as it always did. I told the story of the Ancient One for several generations. My friends had long since died. The queen had passed, and a new queen took her place. I was the last one who remembered meeting the Ancient One when the new queen called me to her chamber. Before me, a group of young ones with bright eyes.
We have a problem and need your experience. The Ancient One fixed the climate before. We need them to fix it again. I need you to tell them exactly how you found the Ancient One. We need them again. How do we summon them?
For a brief moment, I was once again a young bee telling my story. Never in all my tellings did I deviate or embellish any fact. These young ones absorbed every word. Before departing, I waited a full week before feeling the familiar vibrations again. I crawled to the edge of the hive and tried not to get in the way. I wanted to see them again, one last time before leaving this world. There they were with their white skin. Time didn't seem to touch them. I made my greatest effort to fly, and they quickly extended an appendage for me to land on, and there was the nectar and honey again. I danced a dance of joy. I felt the air move as their appendage moved, a sensation I had longed for. I looked directly into their eyes. I felt my eyes growing heavy as I tried to absorb it all again. As my eyes began to close, the last thing I saw was their glow and a smile forming on their strange mouth.
This story presents us with a unique perspective, the view that bees have of human beekeepers. To them, we are incomprehensible and ancestral beings, similar to Lovecraftian creatures, entities so ancient and powerful that they escape the comprehension of lesser beings. The story unfolds in the context of a climate crisis threatening the survival of a hive. The queen, remembering ancient stories passed down through generations, sends a group of scouts in search of the Ancient One, a human beekeeper who had helped their ancestors. The elements of the story translate as follows. The Ancient One's hive is actually a human house or structure. The strange wood is likely an artificial hive or feeder. The white skin worn by the Ancient One is the beekeeper's suit. The appendage is the beekeeper's hand. The journey that takes a week and is reduced to minutes is the beekeeper transporting the bees. The sharp buzzing and blast of cold air suggests the use of a climate control system. The beekeeper, recognizing the bees' need, not only provides food, the nectar and honey, but also installs what appears to be a ventilation or climate control system to help the hive survive the heat. The beauty of the story lies in how it presents the symbiotic relationship between humans and bees from the perspective of these small insects. To them, we are almost divine beings, incomprehensible in our scale and capabilities, yet benevolent. The final scene, where the elderly bee has its final encounter with the beekeeper, suggests that this relationship transcends generations, with the human appearing practically immutable against the short life of bees. The cycle comes full circle when a new generation seeks the help of the Ancient One to face another climate challenge, suggesting that this relationship will continue as long as there are beekeepers willing to care for their hives and bees that keep alive the legend of the benevolent Ancient One. Most fascinating is how the story inverts our usual perspective. Instead of seeing bees as simple insects that we care for, it shows us how they might perceive us, as mystical and powerful beings who, for reasons incomprehensible to them, have decided to help and protect them through generations.